Yes, I got a question the other day about carbohydrates, starchy carbohydrates, and I started thinking about starchy carbohydrates and what I used to do when I was younger. Hey, Marilise, how you doing? Hey, Ellen, and how what I used to do with starchy carbohydrates. Now, starchy carbohydrates being rice, pasta, potatoes, anything that is starchy in terms of their makeup and carbohydrates, right? Um, so, um, yes, Elaine, I'll have to get back to you on that. I'll send you a message after, um, and we'll talk a little later. So yes, what I used to do with starchy carbohydrates, I used to use carbohydrates like rice and pasta to gain weight. That was my those were the foods that helped me gain weight, and the reason being is because they were calorie dense, meaning that they packed more calories per gram than any other food except fats. But of course, carbohydrates had a lot of. Excuse me, I'm just going to turn my volume down here. I had people sending me stuff, and of course, carbohydrates, carbs. Of course, these starchy carbohydrates contained a lot of calories, packed in calories. So I used to use those types of foods to actually when I wanted to bring my weight up. Um, Now I got this question the other day about somebody who wanted to know if they can actually eat pastas and rice and still lose weight. Um, you know what? You know what? Unfortunately, starchy carbohydrates in general, have gotten a play us a tune. Oh, you seen the guitars? I had to move things around here, so no, 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 no. I'm not that good. I just kind of hack away on my guitars. um, maybe later. Maybe later. I got to practice up first. But let's play a tune. But you want to know something? I got this question the other day about can people still eat carbohydrates, more specifically starchy carbohydrates, and still lose weight? I had to think about that for a bit, and I thought, you know what? Yes, you can. You can most definitely still eat starchy carbohydrates and still lose weight. Uh, you know what? Carbohydrates, or more specifically, starchy carbohydrates, have gotten a pretty bad rap over these past 10 years, basically because of their ability to pack in so many calories per grams, as well as the amount of carbohydrates that are contained in these starches, right? And it's these carbohydrates that convert to sugar, and depending on how fast they convert to sugar, the more processed the starch is, the faster they convert to sugar. So if there's a lot of carbohydrates in the starch, it's going to convert to sugar a lot faster. So um, here's the problem that most people don't. Here's the thing that most people don't understand when it comes to starchy carbohydrates is that they are packed, like they are packed with calories, and they are packed with carbohydrates. And we've grown up in a society where we've always relied on these types of foods to provide us with energy, especially when we're younger and we're outdoors or whatever we may be doing because we're growing. And it's these foods like potatoes and pastas and rice that give us that energy, provide us the sustenance for muscle energy, fuel, right? To fuel those days, fuel those workouts, fuel those long days on the job, right? And of course, our bodies were more adapted and able to process those starches, those carbohydrates, those potatoes, rices, pastas, the breads, right? But the thing is that as we grow a little older, our intake of these starches, they don't dwindle. We keep on eating. We still eat those amounts on for lunch, breakfast, lunch, and dinners, right? And without realizing that we're not as active as we were, 10, 15, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, but we're still eating those types of starches on a daily basis. And what ends up happening is that, of course, because of the amount of calories that are in those starches, the amount of carbohydrates in those starches, we put on weight rather quickly. And without realizing what's actually in those starches, such as potatoes, rice, and pastas, how much calories they're in per serving, we don't know that. But you'd be surprised at how much calories and carbohydrates are in each serving of those starches. And if you realized how much you actually required on a daily basis to actually help you lose weight, you would not, you would be very surprised. And when you think about the amount that is required to actually lose weight, and you think that's not including the stuff we put on top of it. And a lot of times what ends up happening is because the starches are so packed with calories and carbohydrates that we tend to put butter, salt, sauces, gravies, everything else on top of it. And when you realize just exactly how much calories go into that one serving of, let's say, mashed potatoes with gravy, salt, and pepper, you'd be you'd be like, wow, what the hell? That's a lot of calories. And when you realize which is actually needed in terms of if you wanted to lose weight. So I'm gonna answer this question like this. I'm gonna say, yes, you can still consume starches, carbohydrates on a daily basis and still lose weight. But one big but here, because you need a bare minimum of the amounts in terms of what you're used to. Then that's no gravy, no butter, none of that. That's just plain rice, plain pasta, plain potatoes. Who has plain potatoes? Nobody, right? We have butter, we have cream, we put gravy on it, we put cheese in it, make potato au gratin, whatever it is. Who likes plain potatoes? Nobody, right? Nobody likes plain pasta. Nobody likes plain rice. We throw stuff on top of it. We throw stuff into it. We throw creams. We throw gravies. We throw salt and pepper. We throw all sorts of stuff on it. And it skyrockets the sodium levels and the calorie count for that one serving of starchy carbohydrates. So you might be wondering, okay, well, what's the deal? How much calories are actually in one serving of, let's say, potatoes, or one serving of dry pasta, or one serving of rice? Here, you know what? I've marked it down, and I'm going to show everybody what the average serving is and how many calories are actually in those servings. So here, I'm going to take you over to my board right here. Sorry, everybody. I'm just trying to get this all set up here. If I can get this set up, hopefully I can. I think everybody can read that, right? Oh, sorry, got it on backwards. Sorry, everybody. I forgot. Hold on. Sorry about that. I got to turn this around. Okay, there we go. That's better. Sorry about that, everybody. All right, so here we go. All right. So if you actually look at the servings for these starches, you'd be very surprised on how much you're actually eating in terms of calories and carbohydrates. 1 cup of dry pasta. Now that's below an average of what we're used to eating. We're used to eating about 1.5 cups, 2 cups of dry pasta alone, spaghetti alone. But just 1 cup of dry pasta is 300 calories. 63 grams of carbohydrates in 1 dry cup of pasta. That's a lot. In reality, well, I'll get you how much recommended, what I recommend in terms of how much starches you should be having. Look at the 1/2 cup of dry rice. You're having 320 calories. 66 grams of carbohydrates. That's just a half a cup of dry white rice. We're used to having 3/4 cups as one serving. That's got to be close to 450 calories. That's a lot. Look at 1 cup of mashed potatoes. Who has 1 cup of mashed potatoes? Nobody. We're used to having 2 cups, 2.5 cups of mashed potatoes. But to make 1 cup of mashed potatoes requires 2 potatoes. So that's 320 calories and 65 grams of carbohydrates. That is a lot. And when you consider that these are mostly processed starches, they convert to sugar quite quickly. So if you have 63 grams in one serving, that's a lot of sugar that you're going to be ingesting in one serving of, let's say, pasta. Now when you consider that we never have dry pasta or dry white rice or just dry potatoes. Nobody has that. We always have butter. You add 2 tablespoons of butter and that's an extra 220 calories. You add 220 calories on just 1 cup of mashed potatoes, that brings that up to 540 calories in one serving. That is a lot. That is a lot, and you consider that there's 65 grams of carbohydrates in 2 medium-sized potatoes. Unbelievable, right? That's crazy. So what do I recommend in terms of a serving size? Okay, if you like your starches and you want to keep on eating your starches while you're trying to lose weight, you have to cut this to a quarter cup of pasta. That's about half the size of your palm. If you wanted to have a 1 cup of dry pasta, half the size of your palm. That goes for dry white rice. Just below the quarter of the size of your palm for dry white rice. And for mashed potatoes, you know what? Stay away from mashed potatoes altogether. And if you're going to have potato, have half of a medium-sized potato. That's it. And in terms of butter, have 1 teaspoon. That's plenty, 1 teaspoon. So that's the way I look at it. If you really want to, you don't want to give up your starches, but you're still looking to lose weight, remember those guidelines. Remember, for dry pasta, you're looking at probably half the size of your palm. Dry white rice, you're looking at a quarter the size of your palm. That's about a quarter cup. That's just about under a quarter cup, and have 1/2 of a potato with 1 teaspoon of butter. That's it. Have a salt substitute and some pepper. That's plenty. All right, I'm gonna take you back to the desk here. Isn't that something, eh? Look at that. You wouldn't believe until you looked at it how much calories are in pasta, rice, potatoes, even butter, and how much grams of carbohydrates are packed into these servings. That's amazing. And you know what? We've grown up to think we don't even know what we're actually eating when it comes to these types of carbohydrates, these starchy carbohydrates. So it is it's pretty mind-boggling. Okay, hold on, everybody. Just going to put this back. All right. Sorry about that. All right, so it is when you think about it. The way I look at it is, yes, you could still lose weight while you are consuming starchy carbohydrates, but you have to really cut down on the serving sizes for your starchy carbohydrates. For pasta, that's like a 1/2 cup of dry pasta, and that's just a small serving. That's not even what we're used to eating. We're used to eating 1.5 cups, 2 cups of dry pasta. Comes to white rice, you know what? Not even a 1/4 cup of dry white rice. And when you cook it, it'll probably come to about 3/4 cup. That's plenty. That is plenty. And then for potato, you know what? Have half a potato with maybe 1 tablespoon of butter, 1 teaspoon of butter, sorry, and that'll be plenty. So as you can see, carbohydrates, it's not that they're evil, because they're not evil. Well, you know what? That's a good, Rolly, that is a good point. Brown rice and wild rice, those are better alternatives to the processed version. I would choose brown rice or wild rice over the processed version any day of the week. But you have to remember, both are still calorie dense and both contain a lot of carbohydrates. So you really have to watch your serving sizes when it comes to any starches. But that's a good point, Rolly. Brown rice and wild rice if you can, if you love your starches. But I will say this: if you can go without starches for your lunch and dinner, and just have vegetables and a protein source, your body will adapt to it. You won't even miss starches anymore. You won't miss breads. You won't miss mashed potatoes. You won't miss none of that as your body adapts and becomes more reliant on vegetable sources, meaning fibrous or leafy vegetable sources as opposed to starches. But like I said, so for some of us, we become, our lifestyle is around starches. But the only thing is that we consume too much. We consume way too much of starchy carbohydrates, and that's the problem. It's not that starches or carbohydrates are bad. It's just that we consume too much, and too much of anything is going to be bad, especially for the midsection, right? You know what? And as well, it's because starches, processed starches, convert to sugar a lot faster than more complex carbohydrate sources. So that's when you have, let's say you have 1.5 cups, 2 cups of mashed potatoes, you are looking at 120 to 130 grams of carbohydrates. And if you have that for one serving at dinner, that will convert, a lot of that will convert to sugar. And it's one of the reasons why, as we get older, we really have to watch what we eat in terms of our starchy carbohydrates, because if they convert to sugar, that means, and if we're not as active as we used to be, it means that those sugars will get stored in the body as fat, and it will shoot off our insulin levels way off. Our bodies are just not meant to provide that much insulin at one time for that many servings of carbohydrates. It's just not. And if our bodies start doing that on a consistent basis with too much sugar conversion with our starchy carbohydrates, we're going to run into problems. Diabetes, one of them. That's a big one, right? So we really have to watch our consumption of starchy carbohydrates. Patricia, you had a bacon matzo burger and it was very, very good. Can I stop myself now? Well, that's up to you, right? I mean, you can go on and keep on eating the matzo burgers, but I wouldn't recommend it. But you know what? You could do it. But Patricia, I know that you want to. I know you're on the right path right now. So, a cheat meal. Consider that a cheat meal. That bacon matzo burger, Patricia, and have that cheat meal. Get it out of your system, and then for the rest of the week, you follow your meal plan. And follow your meal plan. Get back on track, and your body will absorb all that. All the bacon matzo burger, whatever it is, will absorb it and get rid of the waste, get rid of most of it, and you'll be back on track. And you know what? You have a cheat meal. It's not the end of the world. Just don't do it on a regular basis, right? But you know what? Get it out of your system and then get back on track. Okay, everybody. I hope this has helped. In terms of how you look at complex, starchy carbohydrates. the next time you are going to have rice, or you're going to have mashed potatoes, or you're going to have pasta, make sure you watch your portions. Remember what I said, half the size of your palm for cooked pasta, quarter size of your palm for cooked rice, and half a potato. Half a potato. You'll be good. You know what? Those serving sizes are fine. And if you can slowly wean yourself off in that manner from starchy carbohydrates, awesome. You know what? Your body will not miss starches one bit. Okay, everybody, I hope this helped. And what we'll do is we'll talk to everybody tomorrow. Again, we got some very exciting stuff happening tomorrow. Hope everyone has a good night. Hope everyone had a good weekend. All right, everybody, Blake here from BodyFit. Take care, and we will talk soon. Bye.